This is awful. This is absolutely horrible. Like, this is just nonsense. Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so that you don't have to. And we are, I think, kind of like past the middle point of Numbers, which is kind of past the point of no return. I guess not past the point of no return in Bible. Or are we? I think, like, could I stop? Could I stop at this point? Do I have the option to, like, stop reading? I guess I don't, because I don't have any free will. So I guess I'm compelled. Maybe I'm compelled to read the whole entire Bible. I don't know why I signed up for this, but here we are, and we're at Numbers chapter 21. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I have high hopes because there has been quite a bit of story in the book of Numbers so far. And I was expecting a lot more genealogy. I know there was some at the beginning that just like lists of people and stuff like that, not really the begats, but that's what I thought all of Numbers was. Anyway, it hasn't been. It's been a lot of like just Yahweh off his rocker, which I love. That's my favorite Yahweh because it's so fun. Anyway, let's see what happens here in Numbers chapter 21. The Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the south, heard that Israel came by the way of Atharim. He fought against Israel and took some of them captive. Israel vowed a vow to Yahweh and said, "If you will indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities." So Israel is vowing a vow to Yahweh saying, if you deliver the people into our hands, so if you help us win these battles, we will completely annihilate them. We'll do a genocide. And that's interesting because they already know that Yahweh's a huge fan of genocide. How do they know that? Because I don't think he's really done this like utterly destroying things yet. So it's either that they know his character, which that's fine, that may be the case, because he has killed a lot of them, by the way, or they're the ones making him up and he matches their character, the character that is people who want to utterly destroy other nations. Which one could it be? Which one is it more likely to be? Yahweh listened to the voice of Israel. Wouldn't it be voices of Israel? And delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. The name of the place was called Hormah. So this is just like one instance of it, because it sounds like this is like all of it. Like this could have been the end of the book. It's like, oh yeah, they went and they defeated the Canaanites. The Lord gave it to them and then they won. But I guess this is just like some particular cities of these particular Canaanites who took some Israelites captive. It's so quick, it almost feels like a letdown, but they're just not very good at writing battle scenes. And we saw that back in, I think, Exodus 17 when the Amalekites attacked. So whoever's writing this, they're just not that good at that. They traveled from Mount Hor by the way to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. The soul of the people was very discouraged because of the journey. The people spoke against God and against Moses. "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, there is no water, and our soul loathes this disgusting food." So this is just like an ongoing complaint, which if it's true, like they don't have bread. I don't know what manna is supposed to be. It's kind of bread-ish, I guess. And but they're bored of it. They find it disgusting. Well, it tastes like fresh oil and cilantro. So, like, of course or coriander seed, I suppose. So, yeah, I wouldn't like it either. And they've run out of water again. I mean, Moses just smacked a rock and got them a bunch of water. So they've already run out. It sounds like somebody's put on a festival on an island. I don't know if this has ever happened. And like, there's just literally not the infrastructure. They haven't planned ahead for the 2 million people that are going to be here in, I guess, the desert. Let's say it's actually the desert. So maybe that's what's happening. Like, God just didn't think ahead and go like, oh, right, I need a lot more wells. They're probably going to be bored of eating the exact same thing for 40 years. I should have some sort of plan. They're used to fish and garlic and cucumbers and stuff like that and leeks. So maybe I should have, man, why didn't I think ahead? But he doesn't care about that stuff. Even though he's made you with these kind of desires to have variety in your diet and stuff like that, he doesn't want to supply that kind of thing. He doesn't feel like he should have to. Seems absolutely cruel. And I honestly don't know what the apologetic would be. Well, these people were in a worse situation in Egypt. Not according to them. They loved it there. Yahweh sent venomous snakes among the people, and they bit the people. Many people of Israel died. The people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned because we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh that he take away the serpents from us." Moses prayed for the people. When will they learn? You guys don't complain. Like, every time you've complained or questioned God, mainly in this book, Exodus has seemed fine to do that because they complained, they got free manna. They complained, they got their water filtered. They complained and God gave them quail too. And then all of a sudden we're in a new book and you complain and God kills you with quail. And you complain or question what's going on and God kills like you and your whole entire family and like opens the earth and sucks you into it, or has the earth swallow you and brings you down to Sheol, whatever that is. And now again, they haven't learned their lesson. They're like, still unhappy. And he's like, here's some snakes, up yours. If I were them, I would just be like, this is why they grumble or murmur, because they don't want Yahweh to hear. They're like, this guy's he's not giving us enough water. But Moses is he did it. He interceded. Yahweh said to Moses, "Make a venomous snake and set it on a pole. It shall happen that everyone who is bitten, when he sees it, shall live." Moses made a serpent of bronze and set it on the pole. If a serpent had bitten any man, when he looked at the serpent of bronze, he lived. Another silly game that Yahweh's playing. He can't just fix the problem. He can't just heal them. He has to make some sort of a show. Why? Like, obviously there's going to be a metaphor. If the book doesn't explain the metaphor, then what good is it? If it doesn't tell us, if it doesn't explain it, then it doesn't mean anything. That's all. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna try. Why would I have to try? Can we just like say it was just a stupid, arbitrary show thing just to make it interesting and fun? Like, if there's nothing more to it, should we be thinking about the serpent in the garden? Did the snake in the garden heal people by looking? Like, I don't know what's happening here. If anyone ever says a serpent isn't a snake, right now Yahweh is saying make a venomous snake, and then Moses made a serpent. So they are the same thing. So if anyone's ever like, it was a serpent, not a snake, it's like, well, they are indeed the same thing according to Numbers 21. The children of Israel traveled and encamped in Oboth. They traveled from Oboth and encamped in Ayirbarim in the wilderness, which is before Moab, toward the sunrise. From there, they traveled and encamped in the valley of Zered. This is all very important because, like, we wouldn't know exactly where they've been if it didn't say all of these things. So, phew. I bet you somebody's discovered where all these places are, and they're like, what? How? They just traveled in the shape of a cross. It's a sign. It's Jesus. That's what they always do. From there, they traveled and encamped on the other side of Arnon. which is in the wilderness that comes out of the border of the Amorites. Or for the Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore, it is said in the book of the wars of Yahweh, Vaheb in Sapha, the valleys of Arnon, the slope of the valleys that incline towards the dwelling of Ar, leans on the border of Moab. Do we have that book? Do we have the book of the wars of Yahweh? Like, is that a book that we have access to? This is very interesting. Like, is there a book where this is quoted, which will give us more information about this? This is something that I'm going to look up. I'll get back to you in the recap, because why wouldn't that book be in the Bible? Like, if they're referencing it here. Maybe it's a mysterious book. You're going to say, like, God, Yahweh's not a war God. No, I don't think anyone would say that, honestly. Like, that would just be, like, why would anyone ever say that? But if they were to say that, they haven't read this. There's a whole book of the wars of Yahweh. Like, there's a whole book dedicated to it, which has a lot of details about slopes of valleys and stuff, which really does matter to me. It's important. It's important to us right now. From there they traveled to Beer. That is the well of which Yahweh said to Moses, "Gather the people together, and I will give them water." Then Israel sang this song. "Spring up, well, sing to it, the well which the princes dug, which the nobles of the people dug, with the scepter and with their poles, with their poles." They dug it with their poles. From the wilderness they traveled to Matana, and from Matana to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley that is in the field of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the desert. Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through your land. We will not turn away into field or vineyard." This is similar to the other chapter where they sent a message to the king of the Edomites. "We will not drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed your border." Uh-oh. I think we're going to see another enemy. Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his border, but Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness and came to Jahaz. He fought against Israel. Israel struck him with the edge of the sword and possessed his land from Arnon to Jabbok, even to the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was fortified. I should have said Ammon the first time. Israel took all these cities. Israel lived in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab and taken all his land out of his hand, even to the Arnon. Therefore, those who speak in Proverbs say, "Come to Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and established. For a fire has gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It has devoured Ar of Moab, the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You are undone, people of Chemosh. He has given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity to Sihon, king of the Amorites. We have shot at them. Heshbon has perished, even to Dibon. We have laid waste even to Napha, which reaches to Medeba." This is awful. This is absolutely horrible. This is just nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's like it makes sense. It's like seems like it's a story, but like this is a proverb that exists somewhere. Maybe it's in the book of the wars of Yahweh or something like that. It's just listing places. Like there's been wars, different defeats, people have won other things, people have gone into captivity, there's been fugitives. But it's just like, oh, we have shot at them. Heshbon has perished, even to Dibon. Like, it's just like, I get that that might be significant to someone, but it just seems like a bunch of words. I feel like in Lord of the Rings, when there's similar things, because you see similar like poems and things like that in literature, but oftentimes there's like more substance to it. There's something more being said other than just like lists of places. But this is cool that the Israelites have taken the city. They said, like, you're not welcome here. And they're like, we'll show you. Why don't they stay there? Why don't they stop wandering and just like stay? It's not a bad idea. Thus Israel lived in the land of the Amorites. Moses sent to spy out Jazer. They took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were there. They turned and went up by the way of Bashan. Og, the king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. Yahweh said to Moses, "Don't fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand, with all his people and his land." Ooh, that rhymed. "You shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon." Do you find that they pronounce Heshbon or Heshbon differently all the time? It's like, be consistent, guys. Like, figure out how you pronounce that word. So they struck him with his sons and all his people until there were no survivors, and they had possessed his land. This is weird to me because, like, I guess this isn't Canaan yet. They're completely annihilating these people who we don't know very much about them. All they said was, we don't want you guys passing through here. We're very protective of our land. We're going to reject you guys coming by, which isn't very nice, right? These people are in need. Just let them go by, right? But Israel now has decided, you know what? We're actually going to completely annihilate all of you, and God is going to give you into our hands. And they've already killed a pile of the Canaanites too. So they're off to a pretty good start when it comes to genocides. But I wonder what the excuse would be for this kind of behavior, that they killed all the people till there were no survivors. That seems pretty harsh. Like, we are always talking about where it's overt in the Bible, right? In the story of the Amalekites, where it's like, kill all women and children. We want all of the children and infants dead. That's obviously what's happening here. If there's no survivors and they completely took over the land, and there's no mention of why other than they didn't allow them to walk through the land, is that justified? I guess God didn't command it in this case. Maybe that's why we don't get the same sort of like, oh, that's not right, because God didn't say that. This is just like a dispassionate telling of what the Hebrews did. God did 100% give them the power and allow them to do it with the Canaanites at the beginning of this chapter. The other thing to note is just how quickly this is happening. Like, they're just like bam, 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 bam. And there's no mention of like how that went or any sort of interesting story. I know we had the like spies that went to Canaan and all that stuff. That was really fun. But this is just like no details. Like, literally no details whatsoever. And I don't know, like, in ancient texts or in text generally, if there's a lot of detail. And of course, this is a different time as far as like people being able to write. Obviously, when we get closer into the modern age, there's like many, many writings telling many, many stories of all these wars that took place. We have a lot of detail, I would think, of like other ancient cultures that were at war and did certain things. But it'd be interesting to look into whether or not this is less detailed or on par with ancient writings. But it would seem to me, just on the face of it, just quickly made up. They got a city, they got a place to stay. And I think that probably part of that is that the beginning of this chapter, there's an issue. They don't have bread. They don't have water. They have boring food. And so God kind of gives them a place to stay, a city that's functional, where they can get their food and water. So it's probably just like we have a problem, we solve the problem, and the way we did it is through war, and that makes for an interesting story. So I'm sure that that's just all that's trying to be done here in this particular story. So anyway, that was Numbers 21. It was generally fine, but hopefully there's something a little bit more exciting in Numbers 22 and 23 and 24. Man, wouldn't it be amazing if like from this point on there's just nothing that's like meh, but we know that that can't be true. So anyway, thanks for joining me. If you haven't, please subscribe and like this video, and feel free to comment on the video as well. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.